Seems like every wedding that we go to, we have this second reading as one of the readings. And of course, that's appropriate, this reading from St. Paul to the Corinthians, the end of 12 and the beginning of 13. And of course, we know this famous passage. Love is patient, love is kind. It is not jealous, it is not pompous. It's such a beautiful explanation of what love is. And of course, that's why married couples will use it at their wedding to kind of say, this is the type of love that we want to have towards each other. It's St. Paul kind of explaining, of course, the perfect type of love, which is agape type of love. What is agape? Of course, we know it's that total self-gift. I've gone over the levels of love before, so we're not going to do that today, but we have those three different levels real quick: eros, philia, and agape. And of course, that agape one is what Jesus has for us, a total self-gift. And so what St. Paul is telling us is that this too is what we should strive for all of our spiritual gifts. Strive eagerly for the greatest spiritual gifts. But I shall show you an even more excellent way, he says. And that's to put on that love of God. Of course, we know to agape isn't the easiest thing in the world. We can go back to John's gospel at the end, where Jesus goes to Peter. Peter, do you agape me? And how does Peter respond? Yes, Lord. You know that I philia you. I love you as a brother. And it's a great love, as a friendship. But to commit to that agape love, there's not words that we just throw around. And Peter knew this. Of course, Peter knew he had fallen 3 times. But then how did Peter live his life? Well, he lived in a way of agape love. He gave his life for Christ because he knew that Christ had given his life for him. And he knew that he had God with him, especially after Pentecost and being filled with the gifts of the Holy Spirit, being filled with God, being filled in that case then with God, being filled with his agape love. And so even for ourselves, as we try to live this way of the love that St. Paul speaks of, we have to realize what exactly is that. It means that we're living with, through, and in God. Why? Because God is the fullness of love. If we try to love this way by ourselves, we're going to fall. We're going to fail. But we truly let God into our life, his grace, his mercy, his love, then we too can agape love. So if God is the fullness of love, then I want to change some words here as we go through this famous passage. It's only changing one word. It's changing the word love to God. So let's listen to it that way. God is patient. God is kind. God is not jealous. He is not pompous. God is not inflated. He is not rude. God does not seek his own interest. God is not quick-tempered. He does not brood over injury. God does not rejoice over wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. God bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. God never fails. This is what love is. Love, the fullness, is God. And so what we must do is truly let him be part of our life. Let him transform us. Let him love us. Because this is what he desires to do. This is why he came into this world, to save us and to share with us himself. to share with us, well, his love. And every single time we come and receive the Eucharist, what is happening is we are receiving God. We are receiving that fullness of love, which then enables us to leave here and at least have a fighting chance to agape. Have a fighting chance to go out into the world that needs love, that needs God. Because we know that we're not doing it by ourselves. But we're letting God do it through us, through him, with him, and in him. And so let's accept his love. Let's accept his total self-gift of himself to us so that we too may experience him and then share that not only with your spouse, not only with your family, but with the whole world, to go out into agape, just as St. Peter did, just as St. Paul did, and just as we are called to do as well.